Hello, my brilliant Sussex squadron. Gather close, because what I bring you today is not the soft whisper of a royal rumour, nor the gentle murmur of palace gossip. No, today we are stepping into the thunderous heart of controversy, where the glittering facade of royalty collides with the raw reality of human lives. This is a tale where displacement and privilege intersect, where the gloss of royal PR cannot disguise the shadows lurking beneath the polished walls of Windsor. So, pour yourself that strong cup of tea, or if today's story rattles your spirit as much as I suspect it will, perhaps something a little stronger, and let us peel back the velvet curtains of this latest drama in the House of Windsor. Because, my squadron, while the royal press machine may spin this as a simple story of a fresh start for Prince William and Kate Middleton, the truth is far darker. It is a story of ordinary families told to uproot their lives in silence, to move aside quietly so that royalty might expand their domain. It is also the story of another shadow that refuses to vanish, the haunting spectre of Prince Andrew and the tapes the palace fears could one day come to light. Two tales, seemingly separate, yet bound by the same thread, the fragility of the monarchy's image and the extraordinary lengths they go to in order to preserve it. The Fort Lodge controversy. Let us begin with the move. Earlier this summer, whispers began to leak from the Crown Estate, those vast lands and properties technically owned by the Crown, but managed in trust for the nation. Two families, tenants of Crown Estate cottages, found themselves told, ever so politely yet firmly, that it was time to leave. No eviction notices were served. No bailiffs turned up with battering rams. Instead, they were encouraged, coaxed, and ultimately relocated into similar or better housing. Sounds harmless enough, doesn't it? That is exactly what the Royal Press Office would have you believe. The story was wrapped neatly with a bow. William and Kate, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge turned Prince and Princess of Wales, are moving into Fort Lodge, a new beginning, a family retreat, a fresh start. And the displaced tenants, don't worry, they're fine, they've been rehoused, and the Cambridges are footing the bill for the relocation. Best of all, the taxpayers are spared a penny. Ah, but my squadron, let us not be deceived. For even without eviction notices, what message is truly sent when ordinary families are told to pack their lives into boxes and leave their homes because royalty wants to settle nearby? Does it matter if the new homes are better? Does it soften the blow when the uprooting is framed as voluntary? No. Because at its heart, this is the old story of power versus the powerless, privilege versus those without it. It is the story of lives bent and reshaped for the convenience of those born into palaces, and for William and Kate, who have long cultivated the image of the people's royals, ordinary, approachable, modern. This incident cuts a jagged crack into their carefully polished facade. How can one claim to be just like us while enjoying a level of privilege so vast that two entire families are shuffled like chess pieces to clear the way for your private sanctuary? The irony, of course, is that William and Kate are not short on homes. Kensington Palace, Adelaide Cottage, Anmer Hall in Norfolk, and of course access to Balmoral and Sandringham. Yet somehow, none of these were enough. A new beginning was required, and for that beginning, two families had to end theirs, at least in the place they once called home. The PR spin. The palace, ever alert to controversy, tried to spin this into a positive narrative. The Cambridges, we are told, generously paid for the family's relocation themselves. The tenants are not homeless. Indeed, they might even be better off now. There is no taxpayer cost, so what's the fuss? But here's the problem. Intent matters. Symbolism matters. And in a monarchy that survives on perception, this symbol is toxic. Because, squadron, the message is unmistakable. The monarchy will always come first. Families may be moved, stories may be buried, and the official record may be softened, but the royals will have their way. And every time such a story leaks into the public sphere, it erodes just a little more of the fragile trust that keeps the institution afloat. Enter the shadow of Prince Andrew. And while William and Kate's fresh start story simmers in public debate, another darker storm continues to swirl. Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, the scandal that never dies. For years, the palace has tried to distance itself from his name, to push him quietly into the shadows. Yet the shadows do not stay quiet, because Andrew's story is not merely one of disgrace, it is one of danger. Recently, a Channel 5 documentary ignited fresh speculation. Foreign intelligence services may hold compromising material on the Duke of York. Tapes, possibly filmed by Jeffrey Epstein himself, that allegedly show Andrew in compromising situations. If true, this would not merely be a scandal, it would be a national security threat. Imagine my squadron, a senior royal caught on film in such a way, his image and actions controlled not by his own family, nor even by the British press, but by the shadowy hands of foreign powers. Imagine the bargaining chips such material would provide, and yet the palace remains tight-lipped. Whispers suggest that certain classified details about Andrew's dealings may not be revealed until after his death. A chilling thought, that truth itself is being delayed, postponed, sealed away in vaults until time has passed and accountability is no longer possible. Fear in the palace. The juxtaposition could not be starker. On one side, William and Kate's picture-perfect new home, crafted for warmth and family. On the other, Andrew's looming shadow, threatening to tear apart the family's image with a single leak. And within Buckingham Palace, fear reigns. Fear that tapes may emerge. Fear that the story might return, as it always does, stronger and uglier than before. Fear that Andrew's disgrace will forever poison the Windsor name. In this light, William and Kate's relocation becomes more than a domestic choice. It is part of a broader attempt to reset, to build stability and continuity, to draw public attention to them as the bright, wholesome future of the monarchy. But as long as Andrew's scandal hovers in the background, those efforts are fragile, vulnerable, and incomplete. My squadron, let us step back, because what unites these two stories, families displaced for Fort Lodge and secrets buried for Prince Andrew, is the same theme: image. The monarchy survives on image, not on policy, not on performance, not on elections or mandates. On image. The Crown is a story Britain tells itself, a tale of stability, dignity, and continuity. But when that image is cracked, when the displacement of families or the shadow of Andrew intrudes, the story begins to unravel. For William and Kate, every relocation, every photo op, every carefully posed portrait is part of this image. But image cannot erase reality. And for Prince Andrew, no amount of silence or sealed files can erase the spectre of those alleged tapes. The question is not whether these controversies matter. They do. The question is whether the British people are willing to keep looking the other way. Conclusion. So here we stand, my brilliant squadron, on the edge of two very different but deeply connected royal controversies. On one side, William and Kate, the shining heirs, displacing families to make way for their fresh start, while insisting they remain the people's royals. On the other, Prince Andrew, the disgraced Duke, haunting the institution with whispers of tapes, foreign intelligence, and secrets sealed until his final breath. Two tales, two faces of the monarchy. One about privilege so deeply ingrained it cannot even recognize itself, the other about shame so deep it cannot be spoken aloud. And what do we, the public, see? We see that beneath the crowns and carriages, beneath the gowns and jewels, lies an institution desperate to protect itself, desperate enough to move families, desperate enough to bury truth, desperate enough to gamble everything on the hope that the public will keep swallowing the story. But my squadron, we are not so easily deceived. We see the cracks, we hear the whispers, and we know that no matter how tightly the palace clutches its secrets, the truth has a way of slipping through. So raise your teacups high, my squadron. Because while the House of Windsor may be built on polished marble and gilded gates, it is also built on fragile foundations. And with every story like this, every forced move, every hidden tape, that foundation shakes just a little more. And one day, perhaps sooner than they dare to imagine, the cracks may no longer be hidden. Until then, stay sharp, stay questioning, and never stop looking beyond the palace walls. This is Sussex Squadron, signing